guys? This is In the Cut. I'm hanging out with Jeff Staple in the Pigeon Coop at the Agenda Show 2014.
Yes.
Jeff, tell us about the Pigeon Coop. What came up with the inspiration for the pigeons?
Well, Staple Clothing has been around since '97, and our icon has been the pigeon. People know us for that. It's our logo, it's our emblem. So when I was thinking about how we design a trade show booth out, it just became evident that we should do it as a pigeon coop. So something you would find on like a New York City rooftop, with the chicken wire and the pigeon cubbies and the coop. We've laid out actual roofing material on the floor so that you feel like you're on a rooftop. We've got the brick and the wood and stuff, and then we've got taxidermy pigeons all around you. Actually what we're sitting inside of is the water tower.
Yeah.
So from the outside, this looks like a water tower. From the inside, it's my lounge, basically. It's like my secret lounge when I want to hide from the crowd.
Can you believe Jeff Staple is hanging out in a lounge like this? Talking down to earth people.
Right? In a water tower.
Yeah, in a water tower. This is where we kick it.
Yep.
So what's important about Agenda for you?
Agenda is just one of the best shows right now in the world. It's, I think Agenda has really stayed true to itself in terms of its spirit, and the only difference that has happened over the past 10 years has been that the world has finally recognized what street culture means to fashion, and so that's helped the world in general. And I think it's just really important that we're a part of it. I'm glad that they have us be a part of one of their premier partners. So it's dope to just be involved in their growth from like New York to Vegas to here. It's dope. Yeah.
So you've been involved since the beginning?
Well, I've been involved since ASR. Since back then.
Sports.
Yeah, Action Sports. So Aaron had a clothing line back in the day. I don't know if I'm that, but the founder of Agenda had a clothing line, and we were one of the only stores in New York that carried that clothing line. So we've always been really tight since day one.
Now, how did you get to know Aaron? Where did you meet him in the first place?
He also worked on a magazine maybe, and he interviewed me for a magazine, and I think he just wanted the clothing line in Reed Space. We have a store in New York called Reed Space, and so he wanted the clothing line there, and we carried it. That was how we knew each other.
I guess you travel a lot.
I do.
And what is it like for you? What are some things that you take with you when you travel? Do you take notes? Do you take pictures? Do you collect things?
Travel is one of the most important things that I do in terms of like finding inspiration. I travel all over the world. I probably travel a good 7 months out of the year. I'm not in New York City. Yeah, so travel's super important to me. And when I travel, I'm not so much of a documentarian. Like, it's not important for me to take notes or sketch or even take photos. I mean, taking photos now is so easy with your phone, so I do take a lot of photos. But like, it's not that for me. For me, it's much more about interacting with the people. That's really what it's all about. Yeah. So like, if I'm just sitting at a cafe and just like absorbing people listening, observing people, like different cultures, that's really what I like to do. I don't even really like to like hit the tourist spots or see, the monument or the tourist attraction that you're supposed to see. I don't like any of that. I just like observing the way different people live, because I think oftentimes when you work in an industry like this, you get really insulated in terms of like what the whole world is. Like, you think the whole world is street, the whole world is skate, and it's not. It's like there's a much bigger world out there, and I think as a designer, it's really important to know that like there's other things going on besides our world.
Absolutely. So, In the Cut is all about local travel and visiting those neighborhoods. And we definitely shun the top 5 tourist destinations because we want that experience in culture. When you go to places, I guess you've just come back from Japan, or you've been to Berlin or New York, where do you like to hang out in those cities? What neighborhoods are important for you?
In which city?
Let's say Japan first.
Okay. The funny thing about the internet and the way like social media and like things like Yelp and stuff, what happens is that now if you find a dope place that you really like and it's like a secret spot, like the second you talk about it, the next time you go, it's like you gotta wait in line when there's like reservations for it, so it kind of blows. But Tokyo is you asked about Japan. Tokyo is my second home really. I've been to Tokyo like over 80 times now in my life. This time was the first time I've been to Kyoto, and Kyoto was mind-blowing. It's just such an amazing city. So in Tokyo, you got to check out the major neighborhoods, which are like Harajuku, Shibuya, Roppongi, Daikanyama, and Aoyama. Those are like the 5 major neighborhoods you got to check out. And honestly, you could easily spend one full day in each of those neighborhoods
So those neighborhoods are really local, like street culture, streetwear, music.
The Mecca.
Mecca.
Yeah, I mean,
Lots.
the Mecca of everything. Like the Mecca of street and fashion for sure, but just service, product design, like production display, like, food. They just take everything to the next level. Like everything. Even like 7-Eleven. Like it's like better than our 7-Elevens by a mile.
What is it, do you think about the Japanese culture that kind of gave them that freedom of expression or going over the top that sometimes probably us in America, we're a little bit held back in our expressive states?
It's their pride, actually. It's their pride in the way they execute on things. So everything they do, they take it to like volume 11 in terms of quality, precision, care. They care about everything they do, and the reason why is because they have pride in everything they do. So like, I'm saying, like, even if you bought like a bar of soap in like a houseware store, like you get like a pancake at a 7-Eleven, it is like the best pancake you've ever had. It's the best bar of soap you've ever had. You want to buy a pack of tissues? It's the packaging on the pack of tissues is the best thing you've ever seen. Whereas I think Americans have a tendency to be like, it's just a pack of tissues. Why do we have to put so much effort into it? But like for them, it's like, no, effort in every fucking thing they do.
Wow, wow, that's insane. I can't even imagine what that's like. I haven't been to Japan yet, or Tokyo, so that'll be great. And what about, let's say, Berlin? Berlin's a mecca in Europe. Yeah, what do you think?
I love Berlin too. Berlin is really raw. It's there's no comparison to Berlin and Tokyo. You can't even compare the two. But Berlin has the energy that I used to feel in New York, like maybe 10 years ago. I now feel it in Berlin. Just a lot of like raw energy. You know what I mean? Like Berlin is actually a place where you can do anything. Like anything can happen. Like you could take a bombed out factory and be like, I want to do an art gallery here with a cafe in the front and the silkscreen studio in the back, and a farm on the roof. And you can do it. Like there's really no regulation, and like you can just go in and like renegade style, just do that stuff. And you've got that popping up all over the place in Berlin. So because of that, it's just a great creative hub.
Yeah, Berlin is an excellent place. You're from New York?
Yeah.
Do you like hanging out on the Lower East Side? That's where Reed Space, if you didn't know, their store is on Orchard Street in the Lower East Side. So do you like the Lower East Side? Do you go out to Brooklyn?
Yeah. I live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah. And
whereabouts?
Bed-Stuy. Yeah. But Lower East Side is dope. Lower East Side, when we first opened Reed Space, was the artistic cultural center. It was the last place in New York where you could afford anything reasonably priced. And when I say reasonably priced, I mean like a studio for like $2,000. You know what I mean? That's reasonably priced in Manhattan. And so it was always a great creative hub, a lot of galleries, a lot of artist spaces, a lot of great little boutiques, little restaurants. So that's always been happening. I would say in the past 2 years now, Manhattan, the culture of Manhattan has started to engulf the Lower East Side. So, Starbucks, American Apparel, boutique hotel, 5-star hotel, like Thompson Group, like all these people just started to move in. And now it's actually great for business because Reed Space has managed to maintain through all that. Like Reed Space has been there for 12 years now, the same location, which in street culture retail is like unheard of. Like most brands haven't even been alive for 12 years, not to mention the store in the same location. So we've been there for so long, so we've seen the growth and the change, and it's not as raw as it used to be. It's a little bit more polished in New York City, Manhattan now, but it's still a good gem to find a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, I've been to the space, and how do you curate and choose each piece? How do you know which brand you want to offer and know that it's going to reach your demographic, and that young demographic is one of the hardest to reach of anybody, and you've been mastering it, if you will.
To be honest, we don't know. We don't have a formula. We go by our gut. When we walk these trade shows, when we look through magazines, or when we do travel around the world, we walk into a space and we're just like, wow, this dude making this X, whatever it is, a zine, perfume, a candle, a CD, a t-shirt. It's like, wow, this is a really great story behind this, and he's making a really great product, and he's a really cool person. let's see if we can bring it in. And that's really the criteria. There is no like, yo, this is gonna sell like crazy. This is gonna be the next hot shit. Like we don't think of it that way. We're just like, this has a good vibe. And then I think if you put 100 things that have a good vibe into a space, the space will automatically have a good vibe. And you know what? I'll tell you a dirty little secret. Like our store's been open for 12 years now. We've never renovated or changed it once. Never in 12 years. And people still to this day come to me and say, yo, I just went to Reed Space. It was the best store in New York City. Like the vibe that you guys have in that store is so dope. I don't know how you do like, and I'm like, okay, I don't even know how I do it, but like it's like we've just been there for 12 years and it's just a great vibe, great staff, the team is amazing, you know. We're always down to like educate consumers on what we find and what we're featuring. We're not like assholes about like trying to sell you stuff, you know what I mean? That was like a big difference for us, I think, too.
Definitely. Well, a couple more questions to close it out. I appreciate your time. All right, so with things changing so much and social media and just a mile a minute and all these creative people, how do you keep your edge as the Pigeon King of streetwear? How do you stay on top?
Well, I mentioned Reed Space for 12 years. Staples even older. Staples 17 years. 17 years. They've been around since 97. And I think the secret is not even trying to stay on the edge. Like I don't try to keep it edgy, you know what I mean? I just try to keep it real to myself, you know what I mean? Because trends, no matter what, trends die. So if you are constantly trying to be trendy, you will be expired eventually, you know? So we don't try to look at trends. In fact, I try to look at trends to avoid them so I know what not to do, you know what I mean? I think that's been, you know, one of the reasons why we've been able to stick around. I think the other reason is me just being true to myself and like, you know, I don't want to represent something that is not me, that doesn't come from my heart and soul, you know what I mean? And so it kind of is a self-fulfilling prophecy where people like, you know, what you just said, like, how do you keep staying fresh and relevant? It's like, I think I don't. I think I just do what I want to do, and then the self-fulfilling prophecy is that people think that it's fresh and relevant, but it's really not.
It's what's up.
It's like the Emperor's New Clothes, you know. It's like
love it.
Yeah, so that's the way I do it. I think.
I appreciate it, and I got that question. Longevity. You're a master of longevity. You've been in the game for 18 years or so. 96, I think you started.
Yeah.
People always want a fast start, you know.
I know.
And you know it doesn't happen sometimes, and I'm sure you tell people all the time. What's your, you know, just how do you stay into it? Like true to yourself. What's your advice to a young person that wants to be a designer, that's a graphic designer right now, and has the opportunity to grow?
Right. I mean, the timing is really one of the biggest problems that I think a lot of young people have. Because of the internet and social media, they think the success has to come overnight, you know, and I can see why. Like, if you're a youngin' and you start an Instagram account for your company, and you don't have, like, 1,000 followers by a certain time, you feel dejected, you know, but it shouldn't be that way, you know what I mean? Like, because when I started my brand, there was no Instagram or Twitter, so there was no way to count even how many people were into my brand.
Absolutely.
Right? Now it's quantified, which is scary, but you shouldn't look at the numbers. You should just be like doing the shit because you love to do it. If you don't love to do it, you shouldn't be doing this. If you don't love to do it, you could be working a fucking laundromat, like trade stocks. Like there's plenty of shit that you could do to make more money that you don't like to do. So if you don't like street culture, streetwear, skateboarding, independent creative culture, don't be in this. Like we don't need you here. Like the only people that should be working in this industry are people who wake up and don't want to do anything else. And it doesn't matter if it takes me 1 year, 10 years, or 70 years, and I pass it on to my kids. Like I want to be doing this every day. You know, it's like a dream come true to be working in a cool like this.
It is. Yeah. Man, well, you can't even repeat stuff like that. It's going to take you or me at least a half an hour to digest all that good info. Jeff Staple, I appreciate your time, man. Most definitely. We're in the cut, in the Pigeon Coop, Staple Agenda 2014. See you next time.
Peace.